The Golden State Warriors are back. The Warriors turned in a spectacular performance last night, defeating the Minnesota Timberwolves 114-106. It was a game that highlighted their resilience, their star power, and their ability to adjust when it matters most. After a tough loss to the Timberwolves just days before, the Warriors got their rematch, and this time, they delivered. On Friday, the Warriors struggled to hold on to a lead, falling apart in the second half and letting the game slip away by double digits. That loss was a bitter pill to swallow, but it seemed to light a fire under this team. Last night, they found themselves down by double digits again in the second half, but this time, they weren't going to let history repeat itself. Instead, they roared back with a vengeance, delivering one of their most exciting wins of the season. A major storyline heading into this game was the decision to move Draymond Green back into the starting lineup. On Friday, head coach Steve Kerr opted to bring Green off the bench, but after the loss, it was clear that a change was needed. Starting Green turned out to be the right call. While he got into foul trouble early, his impact was undeniable, particularly in the game's closing minutes. His defensive brilliance is what makes him such a unique and valuable player. Green didn't stuff the stat sheet offensively, finishing with 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, but his presence on defense was immense. He was everywhere when it mattered most, contesting shots, shutting down driving lanes, and disrupting Minnesota's offensive flow. Moving him back to his established role clearly worked. Then there's Steph Curry. What more can you say about this guy? Once again, he was the engine that drove everything for the Warriors. Curry dropped 30 points, dished out 8 assists, and grabbed 4 rebounds. His ability to blow by defenders, finish at the rim, and make plays under pressure was on full display. Whether he was scoring through double teams or setting up his teammates for open looks, Curry was nothing short of spectacular. It's performances like this that remind you why he's one of the greatest players in the game today. While Curry carried much of the scoring load, he wasn't alone. Buddy Hield was phenomenal. After struggling with his shot in recent games, he finally broke out of his slump in a big way. Hield knocked down 53.8% of his three-point attempts and finished the game with 27 points. His shooting stretched the floor and opened up opportunities for the rest of the team. But it wasn't just his scoring that stood out. He also came up with 3 steals, playing active defense and creating extra possessions. When Hield's on like this, the Warriors' offense looks unstoppable. Another standout performance came from JK, who arguably had the best game of his young career. JK scored 20 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, and added 2 assists. But where he really shined was on the defensive end. JK had 2 steals and 3 blocks, including a game-ending rejection that was the perfect exclamation point on the Warriors' victory. His aggressiveness in the second half was exactly what the team needed, especially during those stretches when Curry was on the bench. JK's energy and versatility were on full display, and it felt like a breakthrough moment for him. The Timberwolves didn't score a single point in the final 4 minutes and 47 seconds of the game, and JK's defense was a big reason why. Kevon Looney also made his presence felt off the bench. The veteran big man contributed 12 points and 9 rebounds, providing the Warriors with some much-needed size and physicality in the paint. Looney's ability to anchor the second unit and control the boards has been a constant for this team, and last night was no different. He's not always the flashiest player, but his contributions are critical, especially against teams like Minnesota that bring plenty of size and athleticism to the table. Gary Payton II had another solid outing as well. He finished with 8 points and 5 rebounds. But like Green, it was his defense that stood out. Payton's ability to guard multiple positions and make life difficult for opposing scorers is a huge asset for this team. Together, Payton, Green, and Kuminga formed a defensive wall that the Timberwolves simply couldn't break through in the game's final minutes. Even Brandon Potts, who played limited minutes, made an impact. He chipped in 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. While those numbers might not seem like much, Potts played smart, efficient basketball, keeping the offense flowing and making the most of his opportunities. Depth contributions like these can make all the difference in close games. What really stood out about this win was the Warriors' ability to adjust. In the first half, they struggled to contain Minnesota's offense and found themselves in a double-digit hole. But in the second half, they flipped the script. The team ramped up its aggressiveness on both ends of the floor, and it completely changed the game. Defensively, their rotations were sharp, their closeouts were relentless, and they forced the Timberwolves into tough, contested shots. Offensively, they attacked with purpose, moving the ball, and finding the open man. That kind of execution is what separates good teams from great ones. This game also underscored the importance of having a reliable second scoring option to complement Curry. While Curry was brilliant, the Warriors looked their best when Hield was hitting his shots. Having multiple players who can step up and take the pressure off Curry is essential. And last night, the Warriors got exactly that. It's worth noting just how dominant the Warriors were in the game's final stretch. The Timberwolves didn't score a single point in the last 4 minutes and 47 seconds. Think about that. Nearly 5 minutes of complete defensive lockdown. That's the kind of intensity and focus that championship caliber teams bring to the table, and it was incredible to watch. Another key factor in this win was the team's energy. You could feel it, especially in the second half. The Warriors played with a sense of urgency and determination that was missing in Friday's loss. They fought for every loose ball, attacked the glass, and never backed down, even when things weren't going their way. That kind of mindset is what makes them so dangerous. This win also highlighted the value of having veterans like Green and Looney who bring stability and leadership to the team. Their ability to stay composed under pressure and make the right plays at the right time was huge. At the same time, the emergence of younger players like Kuminga adds another dimension to this team. His athleticism, defensive versatility, and growing confidence are all reasons to be excited about what he can bring to the table moving forward. Ultimately, this was a complete team effort, from Curry's brilliance to Hield's shooting and the defensive masterclass in the final minutes. Every player who stepped on the court contributed in some way. It's wins like these that show just how dangerous the Warriors can be when they're firing on all cylinders. This was more than just a bounce-back win. It was a statement. The Warriors proved that they can adjust, execute, and rise to the occasion when it matters most. They looked focused, energized, and in sync. And that's exactly what you want to see from a team with championship aspirations. Also, if you love these deep dives, I post every single day during the season. I'd seriously and genuinely appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much. Anyways, I think a lot of the players on the team are having really interesting seasons, and I want to talk about it. And every Warriors fan knows we need to start with JK. JK might just be the most confusing player in the NBA right now. He's got so much talent, and the potential to be a star is undeniable. But figuring out how to consistently harness that potential has been a challenge for both him and the Warriors. This season, his stats are down from last year, which adds to the enigma. He's averaging 15 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game, while shooting 44.8% from the field. On paper, those are decent numbers, but they don't fully reflect the roller coaster that is JK's season. What makes him so perplexing is how unpredictable he can be. One night, he's unstoppable, putting up 33 points on 13 of 22 shooting, including 3 of 6 from deep, like he did against the Rockets. He was everywhere in that game, grabbing 6 rebounds and looking like the dominant force everyone knows he can be. Then there are nights where he fades into the background, struggling to find his rhythm or impact the game. It's this inconsistency that keeps everyone guessing and makes him such a wild card. One area where JK has improved is his willingness to take more threes. He's attempting 7.3 3-pointers per 100 possessions, the most of his career. The problem? He's only hitting 31.1% of those shots, and defenses know it. Opponents don't respect his outside shot, and that creates spacing issues, especially when he's on the court with Draymond Green. Even though Green is shooting nearly 40% from 3 this season, defenses still gamble on leaving him open. Combine that with JK's struggles, and the Warriors' offense can get crowded in the paint fast. Early in the season, the Warriors experimented with starting JK alongside Green and rookie Trace Jackson Davis. On paper, it seemed like a solid idea, but in reality, it was a spacing nightmare. Defenders packed the paint, and the offense stalled. It's clear JK thrives more at the 4, where his athleticism and ability to attack the rim are better utilized. However, that brings up another challenge. Draymond Green doesn't want to play the 5 consistently, which makes it tricky to find a lineup that works for everyone. Despite these challenges, there's no denying JK's impact when he's locked in. The Warriors are 2-0 when he plays 30 or more minutes, which shows just how much he can influence the game when given the chance. He's one of the few players on the team who can create his own shot, a valuable skill on a team that relies heavily on ball movement and 3-point shooting. His ability to attack off the dribble and finish at the rim is a weapon, but his lack of a consistent jumper limits how often he can stay on the floor in crucial moments. JK's defense is another area where he shows flashes of brilliance. He's got the size athleticism, and instincts to be a great defender. And he's had games where he's made game-changing plays on that end. Against Houston, for example, he not only scored 33 points, but also contributed with key stops, showing he can be a force on both ends of the floor. But just like with his offense, the challenge is consistency. One game, he's a defensive disruptor, and the next, he's missing rotations or picking up unnecessary fouls. The Warriors system also plays a role in JK's development. Their offense relies heavily on movement, spacing, and decision-making, which doesn't always align with his strengths. JK is at his best when he's attacking the basket and playing aggressively, but finding a way to incorporate that into the Warriors' style of play has been a work in progress. At the same time, JK is still learning how to adapt to the team system, and that's a big part of why his minutes can fluctuate so much. What's frustrating and exciting is how close JK seems to be to putting it all together. His 33-point game against the Rockets was a reminder of what he's capable of. He's a physical force who can score inside, knock down threes when he's in rhythm, and make big plays on defense. But for every game like that, there are stretches where he struggles to find his role or make the most of his opportunities. The Warriors clearly believe in his potential. They've invested time and resources into his development, and it's easy to see why. At 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan, he's got the physical tools to be a matchup nightmare. When he's aggressive and locked in, he brings a dynamic element to the Warriors that few other players on the roster can provide. But the inconsistency remains the biggest hurdle. One of the biggest questions is whether JK can become a reliable piece for the Warriors in the long term. Right now, he's good at the 4, where his athleticism allows him to thrive, but he's not as effective at the 3. And with Draymond hesitant to play the 5 consistently, finding the right balance has been a challenge. It's not just about fitting JK into the system, it's about building a system that maximizes his strengths while minimizing his weaknesses. Watching JK is like being on a roller coaster. Some nights, he's throwing down highlight reel dunks, blocking shots, and showing off his playmaking ability. Other nights, he's struggling to hit open shots or keep up with the game's pace. It's this unpredictability that makes him so intriguing, but also so frustrating at times. What's clear is that the Warriors are better when JK is playing at a high level. His ability to create his own shot, play above the rim, and contribute defensively gives the team a different dimension. But unlocking that version of JK consistently is the key. If he can figure it out, and if the Warriors can find a way to better utilize his unique skill set, he could be the star everyone knows he has the potential to become. For now, though, JK remains a mystery. He's shown he can be dominant, but the inconsistency and fit within the Warriors system make it hard to rely on him night in and night out. Still, the flashes of brilliance are enough to keep you hopeful. And if he can find that next gear, the Warriors' ceiling as a team gets a whole lot higher. But after him, let's talk about Steph, because he's been a beast. Steph Curry is playing at an insane level this season, even at 36 years old. It's absolutely amazing to see him continue to prove that age doesn't define greatness. After his recent 30-point game against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he's just 2 games away from surpassing Michael Jordan for the most 30-point performances by a guard over 35. Yes, you heard that right. Steph is about to overtake Vucevic in a scoring milestone. That's not just impressive, it's legendary. Looking at his stats, Steph's numbers this season are solid. He's putting up 23 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 6.6 assists per game while shooting 45% from the field. For most players, those would be career best numbers. For Steph, though, they're almost understated, a reflection of just how ridiculously high he set the bar over the years. Sure, he's had a few off nights, but let's not forget who we're talking about here. Steph Curry doesn't stay in a slump for long, he bounces back, usually with some jaw-dropping performance that reminds everyone he's one of the best to ever play. What's different this season, though, is his playing time. He's averaging just over 30 minutes per game across 16 games, a little less than we're used to seeing from him. The Warriors are clearly trying to manage his workload, knowing they need to keep him fresh for the long haul. At 36, Steph is still the heartbeat of this team, but let's face it, he can't do it all by himself forever. And that's where things start to get tricky. The Warriors' depth has always been one of their greatest strengths, but they're missing something this year. A clear number 2 to support Steph. The team tried to address this over the offseason by pursuing stars like Paul George after Klay Thompson left in free agency. But those moves didn't pan out, leaving Golden State still searching for that second star. It's not just about taking the load off Steph, it's about giving the team the firepower they need to stay competitive in an absolutely stacked Western Conference. The lack of a high-scoring partner for Steph is surprising, especially when you realize he hasn't had a teammate averaging more than 22 points per game since 2019. That's 4 seasons without a consistent second scoring option, which feels almost unheard of for a player of Steph's caliber. It puts even more pressure on him to carry the offensive load, and while he's proven time and time again that he's up to the challenge, it's not a sustainable strategy in the long run. Another surprising stat this season, for the first time in 12 years, Steph isn't leading the league in 3-pointers per game. That title currently belongs to LaMelo Ball. It's strange to think of anyone outshooting the greatest shooter of all time, but let's not get carried away. Steph is still a nightmare for defenses, and his shooting gravity continues to warp the court in ways no other player can replicate. Even when he's not at his absolute peak, his presence alone forces opposing defenses to scramble and leaves his teammates with wide open opportunities. That kind of impact doesn't show up in the box score, but it's a huge part of why he's so valuable. Steph's mindset this season also stands out. He's been crystal clear about his goals. He's playing for one thing and one thing only: another championship. He's already done everything else: MVPs, scoring titles, unanimous awards, you name it. But now, it's all about adding another ring to his legacy. That kind of focus and determination is what separates legends like Steph from everyone else. He's not just trying to be great, he's trying to cement his place as one of the greatest ever. And he's got the drive to back it up. The Warriors, though, have some tough decisions ahead of them. Adding a second star alongside Curry isn't just a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. Without another reliable scorer or playmaker to shoulder some of the offensive burden, the Warriors risk burning Steph out, especially as the season wears on. And with the Western Conference as competitive as ever, they can't afford to tread water, while hoping Steph can single-handedly carry them to victory night after night. Even with these challenges, Steph continues to rise to the occasion. He's shown time and time again that he thrives under pressure. Whether it's hitting clutch shots, breaking records, or willing his team to victory, he's always finding new ways to remind the world just how special he is. He's not just maintaining his level of play, he's redefining what's possible for a player his age. Take his pursuit of Michael Jordan's 30-point game record, for example. It's not just a testament to Steph's scoring ability, it's a reflection of his longevity and consistency. To be in the same conversation as Jordan, Karl Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and LeBron James when it comes to scoring milestones at this stage of his career, that's elite company, and Steph belongs right there with them. And let's not overlook how much his leadership means to this team. He's not just the best player on the Warriors, he's their emotional and strategic anchor. Whether he's rallying his teammates after a tough loss or setting the tone with his play, Steph's influence goes far beyond what he does on the court. He's the kind of player who makes everyone around him better, and that's a rare quality. This season is shaping up to be another chapter in the incredible story of Steph Curry's career. He's still pushing boundaries, still rewriting the record books, and still making defenders look silly with his ridiculous shooting range and crafty handles. At 36, he's proving that greatness doesn't fade. It evolves. For the Warriors, the challenge is clear. They need to find the right pieces to support Steph, not just for this season, but for the years to come. Whether it's through a big trade or internal development, they've got to give him the help he needs to keep competing at the highest level. Because as good as Steph is, and he's still ridiculously good, basketball is a team game. And if they can't find that missing piece, they're putting an unfair amount of weight on his shoulders. But knowing Steph, he'll keep showing up, keep performing, and keep doing what he does best, dominating the game in his own unique way. Whether it's draining threes, breaking ankles, or setting records, Steph Curry is still the show. And honestly, I don't see that changing anytime soon. And with that Shams report coming out about the Warriors looking for a start to put next to Curry, I think everyone could agree that needs to happen. So what I did is I went through a Golden State Warriors Reddit. I found 5 different names that the Warriors fans mentioned a lot, and I want to break down how they would fit with the Warriors. First, in my opinion, the perfect fit. Vuce in a Warriors jersey would be a game changer. No question about it. Imagine the impact of having a skilled center like him, anchoring the middle and creating space for Steph Curry to work his magic. Vuce has been playing at an all-star level this season, averaging 21 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 3.2 assists per game while shooting an impressive 58.7% from the field. That's efficient, smart, and a perfect addition to Golden State's high-powered offense. What makes this even more exciting is that Vuce has become a three-point threat this year. His three-point percentage has skyrocketed to 47.4%, up from 29.4% last season. This isn't just luck either. He's actually increased his volume from beyond the arc, taking 32.7% of his shots as threes compared to last year's 25.8%. That's a significant change and shows his willingness to adapt to modern NBA strategies. Having a center with that kind of range would force opposing defenses to respect the perimeter much more, giving Curry and others more open looks. Now let's talk about how Vuce would help Curry. With a center that can space the floor the way Vuce can, Curry would have even more room to navigate through defenses with his signature off-the-dribble moves. His driving lanes would suddenly feel a lot less crowded. Defenders wouldn't be able to collapse in the paint as easily because Vuce could be standing at the three-point line ready to knock down shots. That's a nightmare scenario for defenses. Vuce is also incredibly versatile, which fits perfectly with Golden State's style of play. His 9.8 rebounds per game show he's active on the boards and capable of providing the Warriors with second-chance opportunities. His ability to pull down offensive rebounds would give Curry and his teammates extra possessions, which is always a huge boost. At the same time, Vuce can hold his own on defense. While he's not the most athletic big man in the league, he can protect the rim and switch when needed, something that would fit well with the Warriors' system of versatility and fluid rotations. The Warriors have struggled at the center position for years, especially when it comes to having a reliable option who can both score and defend consistently. Vuce checks both those boxes. His skill set would be an instant upgrade over some of the inconsistency they faced in that spot, and he could seamlessly fit into their offensive and defensive schemes. Plus, given his all-star level talent, he'd give Golden State a true number 2 in the front court that they could rely on to make big plays in crunch time. Let's not ignore the financials either. Vuce is currently earning an even $20 million this season, making him a relatively affordable option for a trade. The Bulls are under the luxury tax by over $4.5 million, and with his contract being as team-friendly as it is, they could look to move him to a team like Golden State if they're rebuilding. This could make it easier for the Warriors to pull the trigger on a trade and solidify their championship aspirations with a proven big man. Bringing Vuce to Golden State wouldn't just add a proven big man, it would also shift the Warriors into an even more dynamic offensive force. He can knock down open shots, stretch the floor, and clean up on the glass, all things that directly complement Curry's ability to set up teammates and create scoring opportunities from everywhere on the floor. With his skill set, Curry could continue to do what he does best without being as heavily burdened, knowing Vuce is a consistent scoring option and defensive presence behind him. Vuce's arrival could also improve the Warriors' playoff chances. With his veteran presence, proven experience, and ability to perform in big moments, he would give the Warriors that extra boost they need in high-pressure matchups. His ability to hit clutch shots from 3, control the paint, and maintain composure during crunch time would make a huge difference when they're battling for a title in the postseason. This isn't just a random idea either. The Bulls are reportedly open to trading Vuce as they consider a rebuild, making this the perfect window of opportunity for Golden State. Vuce offers a ton of upside at a reasonable price, and they'd gain an elite center to pair with Curry and Draymond Green. With Vuce in the mix, they'd have the kind of front court presence they haven't had in years, adding much needed balance to their roster. At the end of the day, Vuce could be that missing piece. His scoring, rebounding, and three-point shooting are an ideal fit for the Warriors' high-paced style. Most importantly, his ability to provide floor spacing would give Steph Curry the kind of help that could keep him fresh and efficient during games while maximizing his scoring opportunities. Adding Vuce would make the Warriors even scarier offensively, especially with the playoffs in mind. If this trade happens, the entire league would need to watch out. But that's not the only option. How about Brandon Ingram? Brandon Ingram on the Warriors? That could completely change Golden State's trajectory. Picture Steph Curry running the show with Ingram as his dynamic partner. Before his unfortunate ankle injury, Ingram was putting up 22.2 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 5.2 assists per game on 46.5% shooting. Those numbers highlight his scoring, playmaking, and all-around versatility, and the Warriors could unlock his full potential. For starters, Ingram's scoring would take a huge load off Curry. Steph's been the centerpiece of the Warriors' offense for years, and while he's mastered that role, having another player who can consistently create his own shot would be massive. Ingram's isolation skills are top tier, and he's also great off the ball, whether it's spotting up for threes or cutting to the basket. That fits perfectly into Golden State's free-flowing offensive system. Ingram's size makes him even more appealing. At 6'8", With a 7'3" wingspan, he'd give the Warriors a true two-way wing, something they've been missing. His length makes him a tough defender who can disrupt passing lanes and contest shots. On offense, it's another tool to dominate mismatches, and Golden State would love having that versatility. Then there's his playmaking. Ingram's 5.2 assists per game show he's not just about scoring. He's a willing passer who could thrive in the Warriors' motion-heavy offense. Pairing him with Curry would create constant headaches for defenses. Imagine defenders collapsing on Curry, only for Ingram to dish it to a cutting Andrew Wiggins. That kind of synergy could elevate Golden State's offense to another level. On the defensive end, Ingram would be a huge boost. Golden State's success has always hinged on their versatility and ability to switch across multiple positions. Ingram fits that mold perfectly. He can guard the perimeter, switch on pick and rolls, and even provide help defense in the paint. Adding him to the lineup would make the Warriors even harder to break down, especially in high-pressure playoff situations. But the biggest impact might be on Steph himself. Adding Ingram would allow Curry to play more freely and conserve energy for clutch moments. With Ingram taking on some of the offensive load, Curry wouldn't need to do everything himself. That could help extend his prime and keep him fresh for the big games where he thrives. Golden State also needs to think long-term, and Ingram would be the perfect bridge between their current championship window and the future. He's a proven star who's still young enough to grow with the team. The fact that the Pelicans have reportedly shopped him before shows there's a chance to make this happen, and the Warriors should be all over. Brandon Ingram in a Warriors jersey would be a game changer. His scoring, playmaking, and defensive ability would take the team to another level, and he'd give Curry the help he needs to dominate for years to come. The league better watch out, because this pairing could be scary good. But a lot of Warriors fans think that guy they're going to end up with is Fox. Although this one seems unlikely to me, let's check it out. This guy is a proven star with elite speed, clutch play, and leadership qualities that would fit perfectly with Golden State's system. Fox is averaging 26.4 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists this season. He's shooting nearly 49% from the field, proving that he's not just efficient, but also a constant offensive threat. His addition would give them a reliable secondary scorer and someone they could rely on in big moments. One of Fox's greatest strengths is his ability to push the pace. His speed in transition and decision-making would blend seamlessly with Golden State's fast break style. His ability to find open teammates, attack driving lanes, and create opportunities for scoring would take a lot of pressure off Steph Curry. Imagine the Warriors with Fox running the point, while Curry picks his spots. As the elite shooter he is, they'd be so hard to stop. Fox's skill set would give them a new level of unpredictability, making them even more dangerous in transition situations. His ability to capitalize on defensive lapses would give the Warriors an extra offensive weapon that they could lean on throughout the season. Fox and Curry would have an instant connection. Both are proven clutch performers with the confidence to take over when the game is on the line. Curry has shown time and time again that he can sink the big three, while Fox has the ability to break down defenses and make the plays that turn games in key moments. Having them both on the court at the same time would be a nightmare for opposing defenses. Fox brings that drive and ability to close games, a skill that would give the Warriors a huge edge in crunch time. Fox's ability to distribute the ball would also make a big difference. His 6 assists per game show that he isn't just a scorer, he's a true playmaker who thrives in setting up teammates. His versatility allows him to shift roles depending on what a game needs, whether that's attacking the rim, setting up a big shot, or finding the open man in transition. His adaptability would give Golden State so many options offensively and make their system even harder to game plan against. Fox has the tools to run the show and provide the Warriors with a true dual threat alongside Curry. That kind of dynamic would make them incredibly difficult to match up against in the playoff. Adding Fox would also bring another layer of defense to their backcourt. Fox has proven time and again that he can lock down opposing point guards with ease. His defensive ability would pair well with the Warriors' other defensive assets, allowing them to be even more competitive against elite teams in the playoffs. Defense and pace have always been key components of Golden State's success, and Fox checks both of those boxes with his speed, skill, and defensive intensity. The Kings are currently struggling in the playoff race, and Fox has his sights on making an all-NBA team this season to secure his Supermax deal. If the Kings can't turn their season around, it'll become even harder for him to achieve that goal. This makes trading for Fox even more appealing for Golden State. His skill set experience, and leadership would make them an even stronger title contender. Fox has proven himself as a leader who can perform under pressure and rally his team in critical moments. Adding that kind of energy would boost the entire Warriors roster. Fox's addition wouldn't just be about talent, it would be about mindset and culture. His competitive spirit aligns perfectly with Golden State's winning attitude. Fox has the kind of demeanor that fosters trust and confidence, traits that would make him a seamless fit with the Warriors culture. His leadership and ability to execute in key moments would strengthen their ability to close out games and make the Warriors a far more well-rounded and dangerous playoff team. The Warriors are always looking for versatility and championship-level talent, and Fox checks every box. His speed, playmaking, scoring ability, and defensive potential would elevate this team's chances of another title run. With Fox and Curry working together, they'd have one of the most explosive and well-balanced backcourt duos in the NBA. Adding Fox would make them a nightmare for any defense. With transition opportunities, clutch shooting, and versatility on their side, Fox could very well be the missing piece to push the Warriors back into championship glory. But after him, one I can see happening: Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine joining the Golden State Warriors would be a complete game changer. LaVine is one of the most electrifying offensive players in the NBA, and adding him would give the Warriors a much-needed secondary scoring option behind Steph Curry. He's averaging 21.3 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 4 and 4 assists this season. On top of that, he's shooting 50.5% from the field and 42.5% from three. That level of efficiency would make him an instant fit in Golden State's system. LaVine isn't just a great shooter. He's an incredible athlete with insane explosiveness, which allows him to attack the rim with ease and knock down tough shots under pressure. His skill set gives the Warriors another dynamic weapon they could rely on in clutch moments or slow stretches of the game. With Curry drawing attention as one of the best shooters in NBA history, pairing him with LaVine would give the Warriors the ultimate offensive duo. The ability to have two players who can create their own shots and knock down threes at a high clip would make them nearly impossible to stop. LaVine would fit perfectly into Golden State's fast-paced ball movement and pick-and-roll heavy system. His ability to spread the floor and create space would open up so many opportunities for backdoor cuts, open shots, and fast breaks. Picture a scenario where Curry runs the pick and roll, drawing a double team, and kicks the ball out to LaVine for an open three. Defenders would struggle to pick who to guard, and the Warriors would have so many offensive options to throw at opposing defenses. LaVine would instantly make their offense more versatile and more dangerous. However, there is one major obstacle: his contract. LaVine is making over $43 million a season for the next 3 years, and that's a big chunk of change. To make this trade happen, the Warriors would likely have to part with some salary to fit him into their cap. One name that comes up in this conversation is Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins currently has a $26 million annual salary, and if the Warriors truly want to pull off a trade for LaVine, they'd probably have to consider moving him. It would be a tough choice, but sacrificing Wiggins' contract could create the financial flexibility needed to bring LaVine into the fold. LaVine's arrival wouldn't just help with scoring either. His presence would give Curry much-needed relief. Curry has carried this team on his back for years, but adding a secondary scoring threat like LaVine would allow Curry to focus more on orchestrating the game rather than being forced to shoulder every scoring responsibility. LaVine could step in when defenses send double teams at Curry, knocking down open shots and creating his own scoring opportunities to keep the offense running smoothly. This would give Curry the freedom to stay fresh and stay aggressive during key moments. On the court, LaVine brings experience, shooting, and versatility that would make them one of the most dangerous teams in the league. He's proven to stay composed under pressure, hit big shots, and make the types of plays necessary to win in big games. His offensive skill set would make them a nightmare for any playoff contender in the Western Conference. Against teams like the Denver Nuggets or the Phoenix Suns, LaVine's ability to hit shots and create scoring opportunities could be the difference maker they need to return to championship glory. Trading for LaVine comes with risks. No doubt, they'd lose depth if they moved other contracts to make room for his hefty salary. That said, LaVine's impact is hard to ignore. His shooting ability, athleticism, and overall offensive game would elevate their title aspirations and make their offense nearly unstoppable. They'd go from being a talented team to a championship caliber powerhouse by adding his skill set. LaVine is a proven star and a perfect fit for this team. If they can pull off this trade, they'll give themselves a legitimate chance to dominate the Western Conference again. Adding him to a core of Curry, Draymond Green, and Buddy Hield would make them one of the most dangerous and well-rounded teams in the league. It's a risky move, sure, but if it works, it would give them all the firepower they need to make another title run. LaVine could be the missing piece to Golden State's question. But then lastly, of course, the classic trade. Lauri could be the missing puzzle piece the Golden State Warriors need to get back to championship contention. He's a versatile forward with scoring ability, rebounding, and size. Everything they could use to complement Steph Curry and solidify their title chase. Lauri is averaging 18.6 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 2.3 assists this season, all while shooting 44.3% from the field. Those stats make him a perfect fit for their system. Lauri isn't just a shooter, he's a multi-dimensional player who can spread the floor, play inside or out, and create mismatches for opposing defenses. His three-point shooting ability is exceptional, knocking down shots at a consistent rate from beyond the arc. Having a stretch big like Lauri would give them a legitimate threat from the perimeter and create even more space for Curry to operate. With his ability to pull defenders away from the rim, he would give Curry open looks and free up driving lanes, making the Warriors' offense that much more dangerous. On defense, Lauri offers size and versatility that would make them better in multiple ways. At 6'11", he can hold his own against bigger forwards while still being able to switch onto smaller guards when necessary. His ability to guard multiple positions while still being a capable rebounder would make them a much better defensive team. His rebounding numbers are impressive, averaging 6.3 boards per game, and that would provide a significant boost to their front court. They've struggled at times with securing second chance opportunities, and Lauri could put a stop to that. Now think about how much pressure this would take off Curry. With Lauri on the floor, Curry wouldn't have to carry the entire scoring load. While Curry is more than capable of handling big scoring nights, Lauri's offensive versatility would give him some breathing room and let him focus on playmaking and leadership. Picture a game in crunch time where Curry draws a double team, and instead of forcing a contested shot, he dishes it out to Lauri, who can confidently knock down a three. That type of versatility would make their offense nearly unguardable. Golden State could benefit greatly from his consistency. They've had some ups and downs this season, and adding a proven player like Lauri would stabilize things. He brings a calm and steady scoring presence that can help them when the game gets tight. His scoring ability also aligns perfectly with their fast-paced, three-point heavy system. Whether it's catch and shoot opportunities, pick and pop plays, or transition buckets, Lauri could seamlessly slide into their offensive schemes. Trading for Lauri would give them the dynamic second star they've been looking for. He isn't just another shooter, he's a well-rounded player who can do it all: score, rebound, defend, and lead on both ends of the court. They could utilize his skill set in so many ways, whether it's alongside Curry, as a floor spacing big, or as a secondary scoring option who can create his own shot when the team needs a spark. His ability to stretch defenses would be a nightmare for anyone they face in the playoffs, especially teams with big men who can't step out on the perimeter. The Warriors are in the market for another playmaker and scorer to pair with Curry, and Lauri fits that mold perfectly. His addition would also improve their depth and versatility, which they'll need if they want to make a deep playoff run this season. It would give them the scoring punch and defensive versatility to match up with the best teams in the Western Conference. The combination of Curry and Lauri, along with the Warriors core group, would make them one of the most well-rounded and feared teams in the league. With the trade deadline coming up on February 6th and so many expiring contracts to work with, the Warriors have the assets to make this happen. Healed Lauri would bring scoring, size, and versatility to a team that could use all three. They've got the opportunity to shift their trajectory, and Lauri could be that game-changing addition they need. Adding him to the mix would take them from a playoff contender to a legitimate championship contender, and I can't wait to see what it would look like if this move actually happens. Now, I'm not sure if any of these will happen, but it would be cool. And also, Steph Curry has been absolutely lights out this season. He's playing at an MVP level, proving again why he's one of the greatest to ever do it. His shooting is elite, his leadership is unmatched, and he's carrying this Warriors team back into the win column. They've started to find their groove and are climbing up the standings as they pick up momentum. With Curry playing like this, they're a dangerous team again. The front office is keeping an eye out for another star to trade for, which could make this team even more unstoppable. Exciting times ahead. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.